You're listening to 3-Minute Marketing, where we interview the world's top growth marketing leaders and distill their knowledge into actionable, bite-sized insights. Now here's your host, Chris Mechanic.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 3-Minute Marketing. I'm your man, Chris Mechanic here, longtime growth marketer. 3-Minute Marketing is basically 3-minute TED Talks for growth marketing. So we try to pack as much value per minute into these episodes as we can. I'm super excited today to have Guillaume Moubeche with us. Guillaume is a unicorn of sorts. He's a founder of Lemlist currently, but he's had various entrepreneurial startups before then. He's a speaker, both locally in his market of Paris as well as internationally, and just generally an awesome guy. How are you, G?
I'm great. Really happy to be here, Chris.
Awesome. So we have a lot that we could talk about, but my understanding is you started Lemlist at like around 2017, and Lemlist, by the way, is a sales automation platform. We use it ourselves, just for things like prospecting, outbound outreach, and things. Really cool platform. I think it's like simple but powerful. But I was really intrigued because you started this in 2017, just a few years ago, and you've already achieved a $10 million annual run rate. So you guys are doing some serious business, which is very impressive. So what I'd like to talk with you about today is basically like, what are your top 3 tips, your top 3 growth techniques, or how did you do that so quickly?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that really helped us was eating our own dog food. So we actually used our products in order to do sales prospecting ourselves. Back in the day, I had like a lead generation agency. So I was running a lot of campaigns for people before actually building Lemlist. So for me, I knew what I wanted to build. And I think it's really great when you can be your own customers to actually build and grow your tool at the same time by using it. So I was using my product, documenting everything, acquiring customers and sharing the results with them. The second really growth tactic we used was building a community from the early days where we actually, were able to share on a daily basis feedback to the community, help them really be part of the product and be part of the journey. So a very specific example we used our community to actually build something within the product, which was a common pain point that people have was essentially the deliverability, meaning whether or not their email will end up in the inbox. And what we realized is that all our community wanted to message manually each other to boost their deliverability. And we automated that directly using the community in order for us to build something that no one could ever build. And the final part was to basically build personal brands at scale. So at first, I was the only one documenting everything as a CEO. But as we grew, I was 100% convinced that building a business is really about relationships. And to build relationships, you need people to trust you and also perceive you as someone who can bring value. And for that, documenting everything, on LinkedIn, Twitter, or any of your social network is actually really useful because you're going to be able to build an audience. And whenever you're going to reach out to that audience, they would actually know you a bit thanks to the post and all the value you brought. So what we decided to do very specifically is that each person and each department at Lemlist is building their personal brand on a specific topic that will ultimately interest our audience. So for example, we know that we have a lot of founders, marketing agencies that use Lemlist. So for me, because I used to have an agency and I'm a founder, I will document my journey as a founder in order to inspire people and connect with them. Our sales department will talk about sales, give tips about cold emails and sales in general. And our marketing team will give other tips regarding marketing. We pair people with what we call LinkedIn buddies. So each person in the team can help each other and really build that personal brand at scale. And overall, and ultimately, it drives a lot of traffic and word of mouth to Lemlist.
Wow, that's really profound. That last thing with the LinkedIn buddies. And that was perfectly timed. So just to summarize for everybody what I heard, and I want to go a layer deeper because, the third thing you said, personal branding, my immediate thought was, okay, yeah, we've heard this before. But that approach that you mentioned is really interesting. Like basically having subject matter experts, basically targeting certain personas or targeting certain topics. And the LinkedIn buddy process I want to learn. I want to learn more about. But there you have it, folks. Straight from Mr. Guillaume Moubeche, aka G. He is a G himself. He's founder at Lemlist and a really impressive fella. And his top 3 tips: he eats his own dog food, which means I'm sure you had a really excellent, probably outbound program. The community piece, these are things that you would hear every day, but the example that you provided of like you're using your community network to basically warm up email domains, it sounds like that's brilliant, right? So that application of that is next level in my view. And then of course the personal branding where you're spreading out, the workload, you're having different people focused on different niches with buddies. I think that's great. G, thank you very much for your time here today. I'm sure that people listening probably want to learn more about you and Lemlist. Where would you point them to, or how should they learn more about you guys?
I think the best way is to connect with me on LinkedIn. I answer every single message, so always happy to help out.
Awesome. Yeah. And check it out also at Lemlist. It took me a while to figure out like how to spell or pronounce that. So it's LEM and then list. Where did the name come from, by the way?
I wanted a name that didn't exist. And I started to brainstorm with my dad. And then for him, LEM means lunar excursion module. So he told me like with Lemlist, you're going to bring your customers to the moon. And then I was nice. Like, I love that. Nice. My dad is a bit of the creative in the family. So the first branding for Lemlist when we started in 2018, it was like a kind of moony background, etc. Yeah. So it was quite nice.
That's awesome, man. That's a good story. Well, hey guys, stick around or actually check out the show notes for additional footage. G and I are going to continue rapping for just a moment here. If you like this, as usual, we really appreciate a like, a comment, a thumbs up, a share. Helps us find and build our own communities, and we really appreciate it. But I'm interested to delve into the personal branding piece of it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
If you could just give me a little more context, like the teams or how you divvy up the markets and what the buddies are there.
Yeah. So essentially, like the way we realized about it is when I started, at first Lemlist was just about cold emails. And before building the multi-channel part, I wanted to test things with LinkedIn. So at first, it was just cold email. And then what I started to do is instead of cold emailing people, I would add them on LinkedIn and then wait a bit for them to see my content because I knew that I would post on a daily basis or let's say like 3 to 5 times per week. And after that, after maybe 3 weeks, I would actually email them. And I would realize that in the answers, I would have people telling me, hey, by the way, I saw your great content about XYZ, et cetera, et cetera. So even though the people never like my content, never engage or whatever, they would actually see it. And when I would reach out, they would actually know about me. So at that time, I basically saw an increase in, let's say, 2.5 to 5x in terms of reply rate on the campaigns by doing this multi-channel approach. So I was like, okay, that's really, really good. So I tested other things where I would actually scrape, for example, all the comments and like from my post, just take the second degree connection, add them and put them in a multi-channel sequence where we could actually get, again, like a really like an uplift in reply rate. But I was like, okay, it's great. It's working for me. Now I know that we're going to develop Lemlist toward this multi-channel. But at the same time, when I was hiring and scaling the team, I was like, okay, it's good to see whether or not someone else can do it. Because right now, whenever my first false belief was, you're the CEO. So as a CEO, like people obviously look always up to you. And it's maybe more difficult for heads off to build their personal brand. So I trained my head of growth to do like the same thing on a different topic. So for him, I was like, okay, the easiest way for you to get better as a person and at the same time to build your audience is to document things that you master. Don't talk about the things you don't know, but learn new things. And whenever you're learning things, just discuss it and make a post about it. And step by step, he started to do this to everything related to growth in general and customer acquisition, which kind of helped him create his network and his audience of head of growth, marketeers, etc. which ultimately decided, because he was kind and they were like seeing him as someone as a thought leader, they became step by step like users of Lemlist. And I did the same, with our head of sales, but this time it was like, okay, you're sales, so you're going to focus on sales because that's what you do and that's what you know. So specifically on your target, you need to add like a head of sales. And then we started to split it by region. So for example, like if you want to expand, exactly the same, and as for a sales team, you would have, for example, people focusing on the DC area, then people focusing on the, I don't know, like California area, or like, I don't know, like Florida or whatever. And you would do the same with the people in your team. You would have them add the specific people in a specific region, and you would have them create content that is based for the target audience that they're adding on LinkedIn, so that whenever they reach out, you see the conversion rate and the replies at a much higher rate. And we've done that for the entire team, and that's working really well, really well. So to be more specific about the,
so you're only emailing people that somebody from your org has already connected with on LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty profound. And because we would almost sometimes do it in an opposite order.
Like where you would start emailing and then after that, like,
and then take, the openers or the clickers and connect on LinkedIn. But I like that. I like the previous, I enjoy your version. It seems like it might be a little bit difficult logistically to pull off. Like, do you tend to go in, at once and add 1,000 people, or do you just like every day add 10?
Yeah. So the way I do it is basically like, I do it on LinkedIn, like with using Lemlist. So for example, I'm going to create my list in Sales Navigator. The search on Sales Navigator, I would input it directly into Lemlist. And daily, I would add, let's say, like 10 to 15 people, then wait for 3 weeks, and then send the first email. The truth is, like, I have an acceptance rate on LinkedIn that is above like 70%, because each of my invites are personalized. So I write icebreakers for everyone, and that way the invite is personalized. And then after that, there is an email, another email as a follow-up, and then a LinkedIn message, and everything is automated after. So the time that I spend is basically like, I do my LinkedIn like Sales Navigator search. I open the profile, then I have the Lemlist Chrome extension when I would write like the icebreaker for each person. The icebreaker is then used in different stages of the emails or the LinkedIn messages that I would send, but everything is automated afterwards on using Lemlist. So it's pretty like it's pretty cool way, like to just you can do this like a few. Either you have your sales team that can do that all day and they add people, or then you have like you can do it manually and spend a bit of time every day. It depends what people like to do. Personally, I do it either in batch, or what I try to do is find instead of having specific icebreaker for people, I find the relevancy. So for example, I'm gonna search for events on LinkedIn where people are attending, and then I would send in the invite like, just so you were at the event with XYZ. Not sure what you thought about the moment where he shared the 10 growth tips, but I thought like the number 2 was dope or something like that. So people, because they've been attending the same event, technically, they know what you're talking about. There is a bit of relevancy. And if they haven't, they can just be saying like, oh yeah, I subscribed, but I missed it. And then it's a good like start for the conversation.
That's awesome. That's really cool. All right. Well, so that's, I think, really interesting, and I think definitely worth a test. And the icebreakers you're doing yourself and writing yourself, or you use some kind of
right now, yeah, I wrote like so many icebreaker in my life, but we have also built something that is based on the GPT-3, so it's like a new AI, and the icebreakers that are written are like really, really good. Like, for example, I can read one. So I put my my own profile in the GPT-3, and
what is it you're saying? GPT's 3?
Yeah, GPT-3 is it's something from Google. It's basically the Google from AI. So you can it's quite difficult to get access. Like you need to explain exactly your use case, etc. And they have this set of data, and then on top of it, you build your model for the AI.
So
and
it's G like girl, P like Paul, and then T like Tam or Tammy.
yeah, and three like three. So there
Three
is
like the number three.
yeah, exactly. So for me, whenever we built it, and you send to the profile just the LinkedIn URL, here is what it says for me. I just discovered your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you've been building Lemlist since 2018. It's impressive to see how you've been able to accelerate growth and scale Lemlist without any funding. It must be very challenging to build a business, and I'm sure it takes a lot of confidence and ambition.
Jeez, that's pretty good. How does it know you got no funding?
Because basically it's scraped like entirely. So my profile, they understood that bootstrap meant without any funding. So like
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's
Dude, what is your
it's quite
background?
smart.
Are you more like a technical type or more of a marketer?
I'm a bit of both. So I have a chemical engineering master and also a master in marketing. So I did, but more I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer, but more an engineer. But then I study marketing also, which is the thing I like the most, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times the best marketers tend to be somewhat technical, in my view. Like because I think it just means like your brain, like, because if you can think both technically, even if you're not a programmer, like if you can just think systemically and sort of pseudo code, you know, like describe sort of like, hey, you know, ping to this API and pull these things. And
it helps. Yeah.
I think if you can think in both ways, like, and you can write a good icebreaker or a headline, like I think that those people that have that capacity.
What's your background?
I am a self-taught marketer. I'm somewhat
Nice.
technical, probably less technical than you, but I started off in SEO.
Nice.
And I had this buddy in college who was making like several $100 a day from this website. And so I became obsessed with internet marketing, and I started a series of niche websites, and I was creating content and building lists, and I would monetize. I was an affiliate marketer basically, but I had a couple of my own products. And I like quit my job out of college, and I was like going after this thing.
Full time. Nice.
But I eventually got recruited into the agency world, where I discovered I had no idea that the agency business existed. But right when I found it, I was like, this is awesome. Like I could just do this all day. I was really young. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably one of our youngest guests, if not the youngest. And very
Happy
impressive.
to be here.
Yeah, very impressive. Did you start off with a partner, or was it just you solo?
Yeah, no, I have two co-founders who are a bit older, and they handle really like the tech side. So it's two brothers who are around like 45 years old, and they started coding when they were like 6. Their grandfather had one of the first computer in France, so they were like they really grew with more computers than people, I would say. So it's quite nice. It's quite nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what's the plan for Lemlist? Are you guys just going to keep on growing? Are you looking at some kind of exit at some point?
So right now we actually like sold about 20% of the company just to de-risk the business. So we took $30 million, so $10 million each. And right now we have still 80% of the company in order to grow like to really like the next level and just be fully focused on enjoying what we do and enjoying the ride, while at the same time, you know, we don't have to think about financial and all these things, which is quite nice.
Wow, that's amazing, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys fetched, if I'm doing my math right, basically $150 million valuation.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, dude, that's big money, G. That is big money, man.
Yeah,
well, congratulations, dude.
It was intense, but we made it, so that's cool.
And is this your biggest venture thus far, or your most significant?
We exited another company like about another of our software that we sold. I think it was like a year ago, but it was much less. Right now, like the money we got is kind of like life changing. But before that, it was nice, but not life changing right now.
Right.
It's really like, yeah.
That is badass, G. I'm really happy for you, man. I really am.
Thanks. I appreciate
it. And the product is badass. And you're we'll dig a little bit deeper into this episode and maybe, you know, definitely will include some of this bonus footage, but the things that you said, while on the surface were common, I think the examples were really next level. I'm
Thanks.
interested to hear more. Will you come back on the show sometime?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah,
Okay.
we can redo an episode.
Love it. All right, G. Well, any parting words or any other thoughts for anyone that's still listening?
All good. I mean, if people again wants to reach out, I'm pretty chill, so I answer all messages on LinkedIn. So feel free if you have questions to come and say hi.
Man, do you sleep? You're writing all these icebreakers and
Not really.
all good, G. Well, hey, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.